In this demonstration, we're going to look at how to define a ledger in General Ledger. And we'll start off by building our chart of accounts, by building the accounting structure. And then we'll enter some values into the value sets that we've created. And then we'll view the current calendar, and we'll also view the currencies. And then we'll go on and define the ledger. So log into Oracle eBusiness Suite and you select your General Ledger responsibility. From the navigator, you then select the navigation to creating your accounting key flex field structure, which is setup, financials, flex fields, key segments. And then we'll search for the General Ledger accounting flex field, and we're going to create a structure called YO accounting flex. So I'm just going to add a new line in the code, and I'm going to type in YO underscore accounting underscore flex, and that's going to be called YO accounting flex, and I'm just going to call it Yemi accounting flex field. This could be the name of your company, accounting flex field, or whichever name that you prefer. I'm now going to add my segments. I'm going to create 5 segments. I'll create a company segment, department, account, products, and I'll have a spare segment as well. If I select new, first segment I want to create is called company, and that will be in my first column, which is going to be segment 1, and I'll just use number 1 for that. I'll create a value set for this in a little while, but just before that, I'll change a list of values to CO. I'll save. I'll come out of the form, go into my value set, and I'll select value set. I'm going to use a value set that already exists, or if I wanted to, I could actually just create one. Let me just create one just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to call it YO underscore company. That's a new value set. Just going to call it Yemi's company. That's a value set that I'm going to use. List type, it could be long list of values, it could be a pop-up list or pop list, or I'm just going to select list of values. I could decide to have security or no security. I mainly will use this for my cross-validation rules and any other security that I want to place within my value set. So I'm going to put non-hierarchical security there. Format type, this is the format of the field, of the data that wants to go into this field. It could be character, date, and so on. I'll just select character for now, and I'll make the maximum size of the field to be 2 characters. I don't want it to be numbers only. I want it to be alphanumerics, and I also want it to be uppercase. So I'm just going to select uppercase, and I want it to write, justify, and 0 fill numbers. So if I entered 1, the number 1 in that field, it will come up with 01, because I've got 2 characters for the field. I could, if I wanted to, put in a minimum value and a maximum value just to restrict the range of values that I want in that field. For the moment, I'm just going to leave it as is. And I could also have a different validation type for the field, and I'll just leave it independent. So it could be dependent on another field. It could be from a database and so on. I could have no validation as well. So I'll just leave it as independent. Save the value, my value set, which is the construct of my field for company, and then I'll select YO company as my value for the field. I could, if I wanted to, specify the flex field qualifier. So just for this example, I will actually select a flex field qualifier for this field, and I'll just select my flex field qualifier, and I'll make it my balancing segment. So this is where I want my debits and credits to balance on my journals. So I'm just going to select my company segment as my balancing segment. Save, come out of the form. I set some flex field qualifiers for the company segment, but I didn't set it up for all the others. I'm going to set one up for my account segment and for my department. I'll make department my cost center, so I'll select cost center segment for that, and I'll make my account the natural accounts segment. And this is the three key ones that you would normally set up. Save. I'll come out of the form. I want to allow dynamic inserts, so anytime I create additional accounts combination, it will automatically add that combination into my accounts. So I'm going to save it, allow dynamic inserts. I'm going to freeze my flex field definition. So if I want to make changes to my structure, I need to go back and unfreeze it before doing that as well. So this actually creates my structure for me. All the things that I can have is the segment separator. I've got period here, which is dots in between each of the segments. And once I'm happy with my structure, I can click on compile, and then this will then compile my flex field definition. And that's giving me that it's been compiled successfully. And that's how I will create my accounting structure. Next, I need to enter some values into some of the structure that I've just created. So if I go into my setup, financials, flex fields, key values, I'm going to search for the YO values that I actually created for my segments. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the application, which is General Ledger application, and the title is my accounting flex field, and then the structure is my YO accounting flex structure. So if I click on find to find the details, so I can see that in my company segment there is actually no values here, so I'm going to put value for my company segment. I'm going to put 00, and I'm going to put in the description and call this head office. So that's just the value. So if I type in 00, that's going to be referring to my head office. And then value 01 will be my, this could just be my UK operations. And then T, which will be our total for all companies. You can just call it the T codes, which is total for all companies. Now in the values and hierarchy qualifiers, I'm going to make the total all companies a parent. In your segment qualifiers, allow budgeting, no. Allow posting, no. Click on OK. Save. And then for the second segment, which I've got department, I can then enter some of the values for my department, which is my cost center. I'll save this, and then my next Now you see that I've already got some filled in already for my account. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some additional accounts just for us to see how we can enter some additional ones and also use the segment qualifiers. 331 percentage. I could use my control F11, but I'm just going to use my query by example run. So there's 3310, 3315. So I'm going to add a new one called 3312, which I'm going to call YO retained earnings. And in my value soup, and I'm going to make these allow budgeting yes, allow posting yes. Account type is going to be my owner's equity, so that's my ownership and stock account. So if which is my shareholders equity account. Reconcile, no. Third party control, no. I'm going to click on OK. I've got cash as asset 1110, and you can see that the qualifiers showing it as an asset. And I could have some revenue accounts. Let me just search for some revenue accounts. Find revenue accounts would be my 4,000 numbers. So if I search from 4,000 to 4,200, let's see what we've got. Click on find, and you can see that I've got revenue accounts. That gives you all the revenue accounts, and that's the revenue account. We've also got allocations for liability and also for expense accounts as well. So that's my account segments set up. I'm going to go into my product accounts that I've set up on the system. And my spare, this is just the default accounts that I've got set up for my spare. So that's all my segment values, and that's going to compile all the hierarchies. Next, I'm going to have a look at the accounting calendar, which is found in my setup, financials, calendars, and then I've got types. And I'm going to look for all the different query enter, period type. I'm going to search for month, view query by example, run, and you can see that I've got 13 period calendar month, 12 period calendar month. I'm going to use my 13 period calendar month for my ledger. So that's my calendars that I'll be using. Then I'm going to look at my currencies that are enabled. So if I go into setup, currencies, define, view query by example, enter, view query by example, run. Could have done F11, control F11, and these are all the currencies that are defined on the system, and it tells you which ones are enabled and if you have effective dates for the different currencies. Next, we'll define our ledger, and in defining our ledger we need to know the chart of account structure, which is our accounting flexible structure that we have. We also need to know the currency and also the calendar and also the accounting convention. We're going to be using accruals, which is now called the 4 C's. It used to be called the 3 C's, but it's now called the 4 C's, which is the convention, accounting convention being added to the C's.